Welcome to the PeopleSoft Campus Solutions PalmImage 36 highlights. In this video, we'll provide an overview to the key features delivered as part of PalmImage 36. We'll cover Fluid Faculty Center, Student Groups Delete, US SEVIS Updates, Updates to Student Financial Planning, Financial Aid Updates for Aid Year 2026-2027, US 1098T Tax Updates for 2025. For the UK, we have points-based immigration and HESA updates, and for the Australian institutions, we have TAC updates to support new gender codes. We're excited to announce that we have delivered a new version of the Fluid Faculty Center for the small form factor. Updated versions of View My Schedule, Class Roster, and Grade Roster have been delivered to enable the small form factor user experience on phones and other devices. These new small form factor pages can be accessed through the Faculty homepage and the Faculty Center tile. In addition to those features mentioned above, we have delivered a fully configurable data privacy statement, which includes a configurable privacy statement label, page title and sublabel, statement header and contents, and URL label. We have also delivered a brand new photo roster for both the class and grade roster, notification attachments, as well as new, intuitive navigation that will enable the user to use the small form factor more efficiently. All of these features are fully configurable using the new configuration setup page, specifically for the small form factor. A spotlight video is available detailing the new Faculty Center small form factor features. We have delivered an enhancement to display reserved capacity and open seat details to the Fluid self-service pages, class information, class search and enroll, shopping cart, update classes, and swap classes. In addition to those pages, this enhancement has been added to the Fluid Faculty Center View My Schedule in the large form factor. Campus Community Common Utilities. This update delivers changes to process student groups to add group delete functionality and also a new option to use the system date as the effective date when adding students to a group. A new checkbox is provided on the Run Control page to allow the process to be run in delete mode. If the checkbox is selected, the population selection and student override parameters are used to determine which students are removed completely from the group. The Update Tuition Calculation Required parameter is considered in a similar way for add and update processing. If the checkbox is selected, the tuition calculation required flag is set to yes for each student term that starts on or after the effective date parameter. Access to the delete option is controlled by a new delete indicator added to student group security. The delete option is only available to a user in process student groups if the delete indicator checkbox is selected for the combination of institution and student group in student group security. The validation is also applied on the student groups page. A user is only allowed to delete a student from a group if they have delete access set up. A new Use System Date option is provided that allows the current date to be used in place of the effective date. This allows the process to be scheduled without the need to update the effective date parameter. If the checkbox is selected, the effective date of new rows added to the student groups is determined at runtime. The system date is also used in determining which student terms to update when the Update Tuition Calculation Required option is selected for both add, update, and delete processing. The Process SEVIS Alerts and Export SEVIS Events processes are updated to reflect the changes to gender reporting in SEVIS Release 6.83. With the removal of the Other option for sex, the alerts process will report an error when a student, exchange visitor, or dependent has a sex value that is not either female or male. The export process is modified to update the XML tags from gender to sex for all the alerts that include that value. Further updates are planned for PalmImage 37 to update the field label from gender to sex on the relevant SEVIS pages. The Select Alerts to Report and the Export SEVIS Events process have been updated to reflect changes in the reporting of disciplinary action for students. The additional data page in Select Alerts to Report, FM, is updated to add a criminal conviction checkbox and to update the label of the existing Remarks field to Explanation. The export process is also updated to include the new discipline due to crime element as Y when the criminal conviction checkbox is selected, and N when the checkbox is not selected. We're introducing key enhancements to the Campus Solutions and Student Financial Planning integration to support Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Identity and Access Management, or OCI IAM. With OCI IAM, institutions now have stronger, centralized controls for user access, providing a secure, single sign-on for both production and test environments in financial aid administration, as well as student and parent self-service. This update includes changes to the Campus Solutions data model and processing to enable secure integration with OCI IAM using the OAuth 2 standard. There are 3 main steps for setup. First, you'll create a new OAuth 2 service app in PeopleTools for authentication. Next, update your integration broker SFP configuration to connect the new OCI IAM secured API endpoints. You can find step-by-step instructions for these tasks on My Oracle Support. Finally, in Campus Solutions, navigate to the SFP installation setup, check Token-Based Authentication, enter the required OAuth 2 and OCI IAM API details and save. You can test the URL endpoint using the ping button. You also have the flexibility to run both legacy and OCI IAM endpoints in parallel by toggling this token-based authentication setting. US Financial Aid Updates. On May 22, 2025, the Department of Education posted a revision to the 2025-2026 COD Technical Reference Volume 2 Implementation Guide, where the valid completion dates for the 08 WBST ATB test code to be October 25, 1996 to March 31, 2023. We've delivered modified application package code to change the valid completion dates for 08 WBST ATB test code from Oct 25, 1996 to Mar 31, 2023. We have modified the 08 translate value field in FA ATB TST CD to correct a typo in the long name. An update has been delivered to enable the Fiscal Operations Report and Application to Participate FISAP reporting of the 2024-2025 aid year data and application for campus-based funds for the 2026-2027 aid year. A link has been created under Fund Management folder for FISAP 27. SQR report changes have been made to remove the Auto Zero EFC field and to add the Max PAL indicator field in Part 2 Section F, Part 6 Section A, and in the query report list of students. The delivered FISAP queries have been updated to support the selection of the Max PAL indicator for reporting classification. Delivered updates based on the changes to the profile file layout for the 2026-2027 aid year. We have delivered updates for loading ISA files for aid year 2027 and generating batch ISA correction files for 2027. These changes include accommodating the file layout changes to the ISA file for 2027, updates to the ISA comment codes and reject codes. 19 fields found in the ISA file for aid year 2027 have been updated in the ISA layout to now be considered as FTI data. 19 new fields added to SFA ISIR CONT record, which is the record we are using to hold FTI data from the ISA. These new fields will use FTIM in the field name to provide identification that they hold FTI data. The total student contribution field is also considered as FTI going forward. This is not a field found in the ISA file, but because it is a calculated field using data that is now considered FTI, we will treat this calculated field as FTI. With this ISA update, we've added batch versioning to the ISA COBOL introduced from 2027 onwards. This was a popular item voted upon by the FA community in Ideas Lab. The correct ISA records component pages have been updated for aid year 2027 to display the new FTI fields appropriately, with the CUI markings in an intermediate calculated values grid. We have applied field label changes to variations of parent contribution and student contribution fields that are now considered as FTI data. Because these field label updates impact the student award period table, for schools that do not handle federal student data from the HESA here in the US, we have delivered a new view record of student award period table that does not use the new field labeling for the FTI data. It is at your discretion if you utilize this new view or the student award period table for your query purposes based on your population and needs. The new view record has been added to the FA query tree. In alignment with the parent and student contribution values now being treated as FTI data, we have updated the Student Aid Index page for Financial Aid Classic and Fluid Self-Service to remove the parent contribution and the student contribution values of the SAI for aid year 2027 onwards. We still display the Student Aid Index value itself as per federal student aid. This is considered FAFSA data. With the removal of data fields on this page, we have added drop zones to the Student Aid Index Fluid page. Your institution's technical team can configure these drop zones to add additional information you feel useful to your students. For additional information related to the FDI data, please visit KMDoc 307-4191.1 for the fields now treated as FDI aid year 2027 onwards. Be aware that the ISA to CS mapping spreadsheets have been moved and combined into one KMDoc. With the new fields now considered FTI, we are providing the spreadsheet for aid year 2027. Please visit KMDoc 309-8937.1 to access this tool. Delivering on another high-value Ideas Lab submission, we have delivered updates to the ISA data load parameters setup to remove the blanket Update Biodemo option and to add the following new options: Update date of birth, Update marital status, Update citizenship visa. Please note that uptaking this fix requires uptaking the Common Utilities updates to CCP MNT PD COBOL for ISA load. This change is effective starting aid year 2026. For US institutions, we have delivered the updated 1098T PDF template for tax year 2025 via new BI publisher definitions. UK points-based immigration. The CAS processing is updated to add new fields for agent details, remote delivery, course continuation, and bursaries and scholarships. New fields are added to the CAS details page, with options to set up default values in PBI configuration, program PBI data, and plan PBI data. The new fields are populated based on any default values that have been set up when a new CAS details record is created, either via the component or the Create CAS Details process. The new fields are included in the Create Extract process for uploads and are displayed on the Upload Extract data page. The Create XML process is also updated to include the new fields in XML file as per the XML schema specification. UK HESA Updates. Further updates are delivered to support the Go Live of Register reporting for 2025-26. Phase 2 includes updates to the Create Extract process to reflect changes to the API and additional options for reporting degrees. The derivation of SD LEAD is updated to consider UK PRN values for the new Lead Partner UK PRN element. The entity selection for degrees is updated to allow entities to be created based on values defined in Entry Profile HESA data, and to report an error for postgraduate students without a degree record. The entity selection for placements is updated to include a check that the required start date is in the reporting period to allow the same school URN to be reported more than once. The Create Extract process is also updated to add processing to compare the extract data with submitted data to identify which records have already been exported to register. The Export Trainees process is updated to include degree records in the initial post-trainees API request. The processing is also updated for changes in the handling of duplicate degrees via the API. The extract sync process is expanded to add processing to move successfully exported register extract records to submitted data. A new register submitted data component is delivered to allow review of the synced data. The purge submitted data process is also expanded to allow use with register returns. The TAC load and search match post TAC processes have been updated to support the new TAXI, Australian Bureau of Statistics gender codes. Gender codes N, non-binary, D, different term, P, prefer not to answer, have been added, and gender code X has been removed. I'll wrap up by including a list of useful resources for Campus Solutions customers. My Oracle support should be your primary site for official information. The PeopleSoft information portal is a go-to site for almost anything related to Campus Solutions. For interacting with Oracle and your peers, the Oracle community site is ideal and supports the Ideas Lab site, where all enhancement requests are logged and voted upon. If you're a HUG member, then you know the value of that community and its extensive file libraries. Finally, if you're working with a cloud product like Student Financial Planning, you'll want to bookmark Cloud Customer Connection. And finally, remember to save the date for the Oracle Higher Education Summit, April 13 to 15, 2026, at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Thank you for listening to Campus Solutions PUM Image 36 Highlights, and we hope you will join us again.